Today, we are going to be rating every single Power Rangers series to ever come out. If you guys can't tell, I'm a big fan of, put that right there. If you guys can't tell, I'm a big fan of the Power Rangers. So I thought, you know, it'd be fun. What if I rank every single season? To start off with, I'm going to throw Hyperforce, Beast Morphers, and Dino Fury, at least until I didn't watch. Now, with you guys know the GOAT Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's what started the series. That's what kept the series going. If we did not get that and it wasn't so loved, we wouldn't have all of the Power Rangers shows ever. I love Mighty Morphin a ton. It's one of my favorite series. The Blue Ranger was my all-time favorite, but I love the cast. I love the direction they went with. I love the fact there was a Dark Ranger, and then he became good, and then became the White Ranger, and then it kind of factored into like 4 other seasons. So honestly, to me, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has to go in S tier, because without that series, we wouldn't have had movies. We wouldn't have had any of the other seasons to happen. Heck, even toys. We got a ton of toys. So next one is Alien Rangers. And I think this was an original season within Mighty Morphin. I don't remember too much about it. I almost feel like I missed the whole entire season is kind of what I feel like. I feel like it was just a season that I wasn't huge into. I kind of want to give it to a C just because I don't remember much of it. Again, I haven't watched Mighty Morphin in a while, but there's still a lot of episodes that stick out to me. There's a lot of core storylines that stick out to me. Alien Rangers, I'm going to put in C for now just because I don't remember much. Next up is Zeo. After Mighty Morphin went Zeo, which Mighty Morphin, they lost their powers and they had to find another source of power, which turned into Power Rangers Zeo. And that was the first season or series even that continued from one series to another series. And I liked that. I really loved what Zeo did, where they took the previous series and continued with technically a new series, but with new powers, new Zords, like a bunch of new stuff. But you still had the original cast. I still want to say I think Mighty Morphin, the original, had a better storyline rather than Zeo. There's a lot of stuff in Zeo that I did like, but I feel like I have to give Zeo A. I think it's really good. I don't think it deserves a B. Then next would have to go Turbo. And Turbo, this one's a hard one for me because I really, really liked the Turbo movie. I feel like that was, out of all of the movies, from what I can remember, I think the Turbo movie was my favorite. And this was the first time ever you actually got to see like a young person play a Ranger. So to me, I feel like I would give Turbo S tier just because it was one of my favorite series. So yeah, I feel like S tier for sure for Turbo. All right, so next up is Space. And this one's going to be a little bit of a hard one for me because I did enjoy this one, but did I enjoy it more than Turbo in Mighty Morphin? Or would I put it on the same as Zeo? Again, it's a continuation. I actually think this was the last season that they had Rangers continue. I kind of want to throw this in S tier just because the fact that this is the storyline where you get Zordon has to give up his life to basically save the galaxy. This also was the first season that instead of having like a bad Ranger, we have a bad sibling. The Red Ranger's sibling is on the evil side. That's the first series that you have like an evil counterpart to a Ranger. It's between S tier, A tier. I kind of feel like it is a little bit better than Turbo. I just feel like Space has some pretty decent storylines within the series that I would throw it in S tier. I feel like it's a solid season. So now I'm gonna kind of go out of order because I'm a little fuzzy on what series happened when. But Galaxy, I think, was the next one. And Lost Galaxy, this one hits hard. I would say this is probably, in my opinion, one of the darker series out of every single Ranger episode, because there's a point where his brother, the Red Ranger's brother, falls into, basically, he gets the Red Ranger powers. He falls into basically this pit and basically disappears for the whole season. Until a certain point where he actually gets basically the 6th Ranger powers, Magnum Ranger. So he gets the Magnum powers later on in the series. So he does come back, but you see the Red Ranger struggle a lot throughout the series. And then this was the first, and I think the only time a Ranger has actually died. And so I want to throw this in S tier, because there are some underlining good storylines in it. And the fact that they actually have like Rangers disappear, and Rangers die. I want to put this in S tier because it is a solid season. You probably will see this quite a bit throughout this. I will probably put the beginning seasons series at the top and then older seasons kind of at the bottom, because I feel like it kind of Power Rangers kind of went downhill. I'm going to put Lost Galaxy, I think, for now at A, just because I still feel like Space was better in certain aspects. Time Force. Now, this might be the one that I'm kind of thinking a little lower than. Obviously, I don't think Time Force was an S tier one. This was the season where Power Rangers from the future came back in time to stop, the bad guy. The Red Ranger and the Quantum Ranger are not from the future. There's a lot of good storylines in it. Like, I do like that, obviously, the Quantum Ranger's a little bit upset that, obviously, the Red Ranger has the powers and he thinks that he deserves it. And obviously, later on, he gets the Quantum Morpher, which then becomes the Quantum Ranger. And I feel like the bad guy just wasn't as strong, in my opinion. I don't think Time Force is a B, though. That's the hard thing. I'll leave Time Force in a B for right now. I think it's a solid A, though. It's hard for me to remember because it's been a while. But Wild Force, a lot of people are probably going to flame me on this, but Wild Force is S tier to me. I love Wild Force. It is one of my favorite series, if not my favorite of all time out of every Power Rangers. I love Mighty Morphin to the bone. Like, I love that. But Wild Force was the one that I remember the most, and I watch every single time. I would even watch freaking reruns of the same episode 72 times because that was one of my favorite, if not my favorite series of all time. Some of you guys might say it's not that good, but the fact that you actually have kind of feeling from the Zords in the Rangers, a lot of series you don't have that. I mean, obviously there's some points in some seasons, but Wild Force actually dug more into that. Obviously, like, for example, some of the Zords, like the Bear Brothers, they help out the Yellow Ranger, and then down the road, the Yellow Ranger, does something to help them, and they realize that she's an ally, so they give her the power. And that's basically throughout the whole season. Every time they get a new Zord, it's not just kind of handed to them, are good. Like, I don't feel like there's any episodes that I'm like, I don't like this episode. There probably are a few core elements I personally enjoyed, but my favorite thing was the fact that the Zords seemed more lifelike instead of just big robots that would come together and they would fight. Flame me on this next one. So Ninja Storm, I know a lot of people love Ninja Storm, and I love the fact that Ninja Storm has a lot of good storylines as well. I like the fact that the master, the guy that basically put the Power Rangers together, is a freaking hamster, and I like the fact that he stuck as a hamster basically the whole entire season. This one's hard for me because I feel like Ninja Storm had a lot of good storylines. If not, I think it had probably Ninja Storm had beat a lot of these storylines out. I really do. So I'm going to leave it an S tier now. It's hard because I kind of want to put an A tier for the fact that I just don't think it's a little bit better than Wild Force. Dino Thunder. Now this one I don't know. Because this one, obviously, in my opinion, too, I want to put an S tier, but I think I might put an A tier. Because there was a lot of stuff in the season that I do like. And I will say this, I feel like they did the Dark Ranger, the Evil Ranger, right. I almost feel like, I know, and I'm probably going to get this, people are going to be like, no, Tommy was better. I think Trent in Dino Rangers was a way better Evil Ranger than Tommy was in the original. I know I'm probably gonna get like, hey, no. And plus, it's the first time you actually have the son of a bad guy get the power of a Power Ranger. I love the fact that Tommy's back in this, and I love the fact he actually is he becomes a Black Ranger. I kind of feel like I would put this in S tier, but I'm going to put it in A tier just because the fact that I wish some of the storylines were a little bit better out of them all. I would honestly put this in S tier just because I enjoyed the series. But I think just as a foundation, I might have to put an A tier for now. Okay, so this one, I don't know. Like this one, I think I'm going to put in B tier just because out of all the ones we have right now, this is one of my least favorite. There's a lot of episodes I did like from the series, but there was a lot of like, I don't know, it almost felt like filler episodes. A lot of episodes I just did not care too much about. And honestly, I will be doing a video later on where I rank the theme songs. Samurai just didn't, it wasn't a series that I really got into. I did give it a shot. I did watch all of it. I don't know. Even the Sixth Ranger, I do like the Sixth Ranger. I just felt like he at times was like just over the top. I felt like he was just like, oh, I'm better than everybody, or I just want to be liked too much. And I don't know. As a Sixth Ranger, I was just like, you know, usually the Sixth Ranger's like, oh, a badass or super cool, and I liked his character for the most part. It's just, again, like I just, to me, like some of the characters just kind of felt the same. Like there was nothing for me to get rooting for them. So I think a solid B. Megaforce, I think it's the worst, honestly. Out of everything, I think it's the worst season. I would say B tier. It'd be a B or C tier with what they did. It had one of the biggest collaborations with every single Ranger ever. And obviously, they only got some people to actually show up and show their faces and stuff, but it was huge. It was a huge event. And within that event, I would give it, that's why I would bump it up a bit. Throughout most of the season, which I think it's actually more in Super Force, I might be wrong about that, they had the powers of old Rangers, which I like the aspect of that. I just felt like Mega Force kind of had that. They were leaning more to, oh, all the Rangers kind of suck because they can use legendary Rangers powers, and then they would do that. And I like the aspect because it brought back old Rangers into the new season, and a lot of bring in newer audiences to older series. And I like that. I just feel like they relied too much on that. And I felt like, to me, Megaforce didn't really have its own leg to stand on. Season 1, I felt like it kind of did, but nothing like that. I was like, oh yeah. Like, I would rather watch Samurai than I would Megaforce. Dino Charge, actually, and I'll be honest, I'm putting it here for right now. Dino Charge actually surprised me. I thought it was going to be kind of worse than Megaforce, but there is a lot of stuff I actually personally enjoyed in Dino Charge than even Samurai. Like, I almost would put Dino Charge up in A tier, just because I think out of all of Nickelodeon's series, I think Dino Charge was the best that I can at least remember. I think Dino Charge was the best. I even liked it more than Samurai. There's just some stuff that they did that kind of made me enjoy it more than anything else. So yeah, I think I would give Dino Charge probably an A tier. It's either A tier or B tier. I think I would give it B tier. Samurai, I think I'd give a C tier. And then I don't know, maybe I might move Time Force. I don't know. Ninja Steel, I feel like I have to put in I didn't watch, because I don't really remember much about Ninja Steel. But also, I feel like it was nothing that got me super hyped up. I'm gonna put Ninja Steel in C. I think from what I remember, it was nothing that like got me excited for the series. So I think a solid C is good for now, just because I don't remember much from the series. Power Rangers Rescue. I don't know. This one's a good one too. I will say that probably at the beginning of most of them, because a lot of the old school Power Rangers are good. Like I felt like they kind of went downhill kind of towards the end. A lot of the old ones were, geez, they were really good. Rescue, I think with this one I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do a combo one here. I think SPD, I'm going to give A tier. B tier, I'm going to give to Rescue. It's hard for me to give Rescue. It's hard for me to decide if I would put Rescue in A tier. SPD, I actually feel like it was an underrated series, because you had the struggle between the Blue Ranger feeling like he should be the Red Ranger, and then this random juvenile like guy, which wasn't really juvenile. Obviously, if you watch the series, he was doing good. And then you have like all these other storylines that kind of correlate. Like obviously, the Blue Ranger wants to be as good as his dad was, which Rescue, I thoroughly enjoyed Rescue. I think it's a good series. I think it is probably in my top 5 favorites. But would I give it an A tier is my thing. I feel like Rescue I would. Rescue I would give an A tier. I think. I feel like it's a solid series. The only thing, and this is the reason why I'm thinking B tier, is because again, they did a ranger that was a evil ranger at first and then became a good ranger. And I feel like out of all of the evil rangers, I feel like that was a solid, not so good one. And that is a decent amount of the storyline halfway through the season. But the crossover is solid. I feel like the crossover is not bad. I like the crossover in the fact that there's the evil villains and they are sucking energy out of the people. I think for right now, I'll leave Rescue at B until I can think about if I want to change any of them. Mystic Force, I want to give Mystic Force a solid C. This one, I remember remember liking this one a lot, but I remember it also being kind of like dry in my opinion. Because I remember, like, the whole point is, like, halfway through the season, he, like, goes, yeah, I don't know who my parents are. And then at the end of it, you kind of figure out who his parents are. And you're like, oh, well, that was the most dumbest, like, plot twist ever. Because you kind of, like, they kind of hint it throughout the whole season. So it's kind of just like, oh, yeah. And then, like, I don't know. It's just, there's some stuff that they do good with the show. But I feel like a lot of it kind of is just, like, I don't know. A lot of it is, like, kind of dry, in my opinion. I feel like, again, if anything, it could be a solid B. I don't know. I'll put it up for B tier. I feel like a B tier is pretty solid for Mystic Force. Operation Overdrive, I love the plot twist on it. The plot twist was fairly good. I actually liked the gem chasing, that the fact that they went in, the whole premise of the show is that they had to collect these gems in order to, you know, keep the bad guys from getting it. I would give Operation Overdrive a B because I feel like they actually were one season that actually kind of took it a little bit different, and they actually kind of like tried to make it not just be like, oh, we're Power Rangers and we get Zords and we do this. Like it had a unique story and I liked it. So we're down to the final two. Now I'm going to start with RPM. Okay, RPM, I honestly have to give it a D. It wasn't one of my favorites. There was a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, just kind of felt like they were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and hoping for stuff to stick. Again, they did the evil sibling thing, and then when they actually revealed that, oh, they're siblings, it kind of was just like seen and done. Oh, these two were kidnapped, but then they threw out this one and kept this one, and I don't know. The Zords also, I wasn't huge on the Zords. Obviously, I think the biggest thing RPM did good, in my opinion, was the fact that the lead scientist lady, the basically one that made the morphers and stuff, made actually the villain. And then obviously she tried to shut it down, but the villain got escaped because they were like keeping her from doing it. It's one of my least favorite seasons. I really tried to sit through this season and get hyped for it, and I just couldn't. I do know that there are some aspects of RPM that lead into Beast Morphers. You know, might be pretty good and might boost up RPM. But again, too, I think some of these seasons I might have to give another watch through just to fully give a good rating, because I'm only going off of memory because it's been a while since I've seen like is Jungle Fury. And Jungle Fury, I'm weird, and sometimes I like to listen to the theme songs from beginning to end, listen to them all, and then sometimes I go, this one's my favorite, this one's good, this one's solid. Jungle Fury, for a while, I hated the theme song for this show. And it, no joke, it deterred me from watching Jungle Fury so many times. But Jungle Fury is an A tier. It is such an underrated series, in my opinion. Out of every single series on this list, I would recommend Jungle Fury. There's so much that this show that I feel do fairly well. If I had to like tell you guys, you got your options were Operation Overdrive, RPM, and Jungle Fury, I would tell you to watch Jungle Fury. I think around this time it was Mystic Force, Jungle Fury, Operation Overdrive, and then RPM. That was kind of the era before it went to Nickelodeon. And out of them all, Jungle Fury is one that I would recommend. There's a lot of good parts in the show. I think this is a solid tier. Again, I would have to kind of rewatch Time Force and Rescue. Those two for sure are ones that I feel like should be higher because I do like the characters in Time Force. Time Force I feel like had good characters, but I just can't remember much about it. I remember watching these two a lot. I just can't remember if they're better than any of them in A tier. If you guys enjoyed my ratings, let me know if you guys agree or disagree with the ratings. And if you guys want me to do this again, but I rank the theme songs, let me know by dropping a like. Drop a like and I will do the theme songs for the next video. And if you guys have any other tier lists you guys want me to do, let me know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.